Hey everybody, this is Doa with another StarCraft 2 broadcast for you. Today we're going to do a best of 3 between sSKS, which as you may know is also Tester. He was known as Tester in beta and then the early stages of StarCraft 2. And now he goes by sSKS. His opponent will be none other than NEXGenius, our red Protoss down in the southern position on XelNaga Caverns. It says NEXGenius, but it actually is NEXGenius. This is a series of games from the GOMtv Allstars, which was a tournament between some of the best players in Korea that was played about maybe a week or two ago, but they actually released a replay pack for it, which is something that GOMtv never does, so I'm super excited to be able to see these games first of all, and be able to cast them for you too. So I've heard this is a good series, so we're going to cast it, and yeah, see how it is. And yeah, so we see SKS, or Tester I should say. I'm not sure which I'm going to call him. We're going to have to see what goes on, because I kind of know him as Tester. It's a little bit weird for me to call him sSKS now. But yeah, we're going to have to see what he plans. It looks like we have NEXGenius, on the other hand, putting out a gateway. And so far, nothing yet. Oh, there's a gateway for Tester. Okay, yeah, we're going to call him Tester. I think I'm going to stick with that. And Tester is sending out an SCV just to check his natural, check for a few, you know, possible proxy locations. Whoops, looks like that's what he's doing there. Let's get the production tab up and running. Checking all of those good proxy locations where your opponent could sneak in another gateway and put on that early pressure. In the meantime, we have Genius coming up to the base of Tester. He's going to do a little bit of scouting himself. Both players, it looks like, getting their gas right now. So far, everything's pretty much standard. Nothing really out of the ordinary at this point yet. We see Tester getting that second pylon. It is about the time for the players to do that. There's a second pylon for Genius as well. And so right now, nothing out of the ordinary. Of course, XelNaga Caverns, I love to call it the positioning map because, you know, these choke points that are created by these holes here really make where you move your army to and where you choose to engage your enemy the real linchpin in coming out on top on this map in most cases, especially in PvP, because you know, lately of course PvP generally tends to be more Stalker, Colossus oriented, so not a lot of air units. I mean, of course the Colossus can walk over cliffs and things like that, but you don't want to get them separated from the army. So generally you're moving around in one big group, so in those cases, you know, if you're out of position, it's really easy to lose in a situation where you could do a lot better. So we see both players getting their cybernetics cores. They're both just finishing right now. And Stalker coming out for NEXGenius. In the meantime, looks like Tester not really producing any units right now, going instead for 2 more gateways. So he's going to be going for some sort of early gateway play. No early expands going from either player right now, which isn't too surprising. You generally don't see a lot of early expands in PvP these days. Looks like we do have a Zealot of NEXGenius chasing the probe for Tester out of his base. He does not want him anywhere near there, doesn't want to see what's going on. And yeah, looks like we have a Zealot for Tester sneaking around, checking again for those proxy locations here. This Zealot is certainly getting his cardio today. He's running about the map looking for proxies. And speaking of proxy, this isn't really a proxy, but it is a forward pylon. NEXGenius is going to use this to warp some units in when it finishes, when his warp gate does finish, which is getting pretty close. Both players getting pretty close to finishing their warp gate research there. A little poke by NEXGenius poking in and forcing the units for Tester back. Right now, both players about even. No player really wants to engage at this point, as those early units for Protoss are so important. In general, Protoss units are a little bit more valuable than the units for other races. They're a little bit more expensive, I would say, and a little bit tougher to replace on the fly. So especially those early units in PvP comes in handy. So we do have a 4-gate for Tester. Let's go back to Genius's base, and a 4-gate as well. So it's actually 4-gate against 4-gate. But NEXGenius right now looks to sort of have the advantage, as he does have those forward pylons warped in and is going to be able to reinforce very quickly. He's going to try to poke up the ramp, but Tester is prepared. He's going to force him back down with those Stalkers. Right now the force is looking fairly even. Tester does have the high ground. Probe coming up, trying to get into the action. That's probably not intelligent. He doesn't want to fight. Those minerals may be rock hard, but I don't think he can hit people with them very hard. In the meantime, Genius thinking about poking in again. It looks like Tester is going to be able to hold this off fairly easily. So NEXGenius still trying to put on the pressure, but I think Tester's going to be able to force him back. In this case, one Stalker going down, and all these Stalkers starting to take a little bit of damage here. Tester doing a great job of microing around these Stalkers, avoiding the Zealot for NEXGenius as well. So Tester really putting on a great little micro show with the Stalkers right now, getting a little bit trapped in that corner, but able to sort of move it out. NEXGenius bring in some more Zealots, and that's going to really force Tester to have to move around those Stalkers quite a bit. Tester really making those Stalkers last. Wow, showing us some great micro. These players are definitely some of the best in Korea. NEXGenius kind of a newer Protoss player coming into the scene and making a splash, and Tester, of course, the old standard for good Protoss play in StarCraft 2. Well, I say old as the game is only about 3 months old. Looks like we do have a Zealot for NEXGenius getting into the base, doing a little bit of scouting. He is going to see the 4 gate as well and see that second gas upcoming. In the meantime, Tester is going to be able to kill off that Zealot we see, and also kill both of these forward pylons as well. And now Tester is going to move down the map and do a little bit of aggression into his opponent's base. NEXGenius really hasn't made anything. He has his second gas as well, but not really doing any sort of looking at expanding or anything right now, just producing units to try to stay alive. We do have a pylon planned here for Tester, I would imagine, and in the meantime, this lone sentry being a sentry and guarding the ramp for NEXGenius. Some more stalkers, and not stalkers, some more Zealots and sentries warping in there. Meantime, Tester gathering at the bottom ramp. He's going to send those Zealots in first. Nice force field for NEXGenius, keeping his opponent at bay while he gathers up some resources to warp in more units right now. So NEXGenius, after that early aggression, is looking a little bit weak at the moment. He is warping in a lot of Zealots, but the Stalkers are going to be able to micro against those quite easily. One Zealot getting trapped by that force field. He is going to go down, but these Zealots for NEXGenius taking a lot of damage. This Zealot down to 19 hit points, so getting a little bit low already. More sentries being warped in, as he knows that really his only chance right now is to split the army of Tester and to try to take it on in chunks, basically. Tester again pushing up that ramp while warping in more Stalkers, and as we see from the production tab, Tester is researching Blink as well, so in time those force fields are not going to even matter. He's going to be able to force field right in, or rather jump right in past those force fields. It looks like NEXGenius is going to push down the ramp, but no, he does force field again. He does lose yet a couple Zealots, so Tester right now just pinning his opponent in his base. Another Stalker and Zealot warping in for NEXGenius, and as far as tech goes, no real other tech for these players right now. Blink about halfway done for Tester. A few Zealots getting caught out of position, and that is a little misstep by Tester, as he is going to lose some of those units as well. Zealot moving in to try to gain a little bit of vision, but he goes down very quickly. Large sentry count for Genius right now, using those 2 gases to get a lot of sentries, taking a poke at that pylon. If you can take that out, that is going to take the pressure off a lot, but right now Tester looks into be a commanding position right now, as NEXGenius is still definitely on the defensive. We do have a robotics facility going down for NEXGenius, and he will probably try to pump out an Immortal to take on the Stalker army. Some Stalkers getting trapped, but no, Blink is finished, and they're able to blink in, and this looks like it probably will be GG very soon. I don't really see what NEXGenius can do to hold off Tester at this point. These sentries, of course, not going to be able to do too much damage against these Stalkers. One Zealot, a couple Zealots and a Stalker in here, but it looks like this is going to be GG for NEXGenius, and there it is. So GG, Tester able to take a game off NEXGenius. The first game in this best of 3, and I will be casting the other 2 very shortly, so we're going to move right along to game 2. Again, hey, if you like my cast, please subscribe so I know people are liking them. I see lots of people watching them, but I like to get those subscriptions too. And yeah, because I am dedicated to producing StarCraft stuff, and it just shows me that you care. So until next time, this is Doa, and see you guys on the next cast.